Captain Jinwoo Park stood before the Galactic Council chamber, his jaw tight with frustration. The massive circular room held representatives from 40 different species, all sitting in their comfortable seats while he showed them images of burning ships and dead civilians. On the holographic display, another merchant vessel floated in pieces, its crew lost to the Cravathi pirates who now controlled 3 entire sectors of space. "This is the 15th attack in 2 months, Park said, his voice steady despite his anger. The Cravathi pirate syndicate is not just raiding cargo anymore. They are killing crews, taking prisoners, and selling them as slaves. They grow stronger every day while we talk." Ambassador Velnara, a tall Korthian with silver skin and 3 eyes, raised one elegant hand. "Captain Park, we understand your concern. However, the Council cannot simply deploy military forces based on incomplete evidence. We have protocols. We have procedures that exist for good reasons." Park felt heat rise in his chest. "Incomplete evidence? I just showed you 15 destroyed ships." "Yes, but we must verify these incidents through proper channels," another council member said, their translator making their clicking sounds into words. "We need investigation committees. We need diplomatic outreach to determine if these pirates can be reasoned with. Military action is always the last resort." "How many more people have to die while you verify and investigate?" Park demanded. Velnara's expression remained calm and diplomatic. "Captain, your species is still new to galactic society. You do not understand how things work here. Rushing into military action creates more problems than it solves. We estimate that in 6 months, perhaps 7, we will have completed our investigation and can present options to the full council." "6 months," Park repeated, his voice hollow. "In 6 months, hundreds more ships will burn. Thousands more people will die or disappear into slave markets." "That is speculation," Velnara said firmly. "We deal in facts and proper procedure. This session is concluded. We will review your evidence and schedule further discussions." Park watched as the council members began filing out, chatting amongst themselves about completely different topics. To them, this was just another meeting, another problem to table for later discussion. He gathered his data files and left the chamber, his hands shaking with suppressed rage. The station bar was crowded with off-duty ship crews, but Park found the corner table where 3 other human captains waited for him. Lieutenant Su-Min Lee, his second-in-command, sat beside Captain Maria Chen of the cargo hauler, Steady Progress, and Captain Thomas Wright from the mining vessel, Iron Will. They all looked at him with expectant faces. "Let me guess," Chen said. "More committees?" Park nodded and sat down heavily. 6 months minimum before they even consider taking action." Wright slammed his fist on the table. 6 months! The Cravathi hit another colony transport yesterday. Took the whole crew. That is 40 people gone, probably sold to the highest bidder by now. Lee pulled up data on her personal tablet. "I have been tracking the attacks. The pattern is clear. The pirates are testing council response times. They have figured out that nobody will stop them. Each raid gets bolder. Each attack goes deeper into supposedly protected space. The council does not care," Chen said bitterly. "They sit in their safe stations and debate while real people suffer. My cousin was on that colony transport. 40 years old, 3 kids, just trying to make a living hauling supplies. Now she is gone because the mighty Galactic Council needs to verify evidence." Park looked at each of them. These were good people, experienced spacers who knew the risks of traveling the shipping lanes. But they also knew right from wrong. They knew that when someone attacked innocent people, you did not form a committee. You acted. "What if we did not wait for permission?" Park said quietly. The table went silent. Lee looked at him with sharp eyes. "You mean act independently, without council authorization?" "The Cravathi main base is in the Theta Belt asteroid field," Park continued. "We know where it is. We have the information the council says they need to verify. What if we just went and dealt with it ourselves?" Wright leaned back. "That is insane. My mining ship has basic defensive weapons, not military-grade hardware. Chen's hauler has even less. Your patrol ship is what? 40 years old? 42, Lee corrected with a slight smile. Against a pirate fleet? Chen shook her head. They have 20 warships according to intelligence. We would be destroyed. Park met each of their eyes. Maybe. Probably. But at least we would be doing something. At least we would be trying to help instead of sitting in meetings while people die. The council will debate for 6 months. How many more crews will the pirates take in that time? You are talking about starting an unauthorized military operation, Lee said carefully. The council will be furious. Earth government will probably disavow us. We could lose our licenses, our ships, everything. I know, Park said, but I cannot sit here anymore. I cannot watch more people die because bureaucrats need proper channels and verification. Those pirates understand one language, force, and if the council will not speak it, then maybe we should. Chen was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled, and it was not a nice smile. It was the smile of someone who had made a hard decision. My cargo bays are full of metal containers, heavy ones. I bet those would make excellent obstacles in an asteroid field. Wright nodded slowly. My mining ship has drilling equipment strong enough to crack asteroids. I wonder what that would do to someone's defensive positions. Lee pulled up star charts on her tablet. The Theta Belt is 4 days away at normal speed. If we departed separately and met at coordinates outside council monitoring range, nobody would know until we were already gone. Park felt something settle in his chest. This was right. This was what needed to happen. He stood up and raised his glass. Fine, he said, and the word felt like freedom. We will do it ourselves. The other captains stood and clinked their glasses against his. They knew the risks. They knew they might not survive, but they also knew that sometimes doing the right thing meant not waiting for permission. Ambassador Velnara sat in her office hours later, reviewing reports. A note crossed her desk about several human vessels departing their scheduled routes. She marked it as low priority. Humans were impulsive, everyone knew that. They would probably be back in a few days after their little adventure accomplished nothing. She had no idea that she was watching history begin. She had no idea that the phrase, "Fine, we will do it ourselves," was about to become the most feared sentence in the galaxy. The Theta Belt asteroid field stretched across space like a wall of tumbling rock. Inside that chaos of stone and ice, the Cravathi pirates had built their fortress over 3 years. They chose well. The asteroids provided natural cover and made conventional attacks nearly impossible. Sensor readings bounced off the rocks. Navigation became a nightmare. Any military force would need months to plan a safe approach. The 5 human ships arrived at the belt's edge and did not plan at all. All right, Captain Park said over the communication channel linking all 5 vessels. Everyone remembers what we discussed? Create chaos. Survive the chaos. Win through the chaos. Lee responded from her tactical station aboard the makeshift Justice. Simple plan. That is not a plan, Wright said from the Iron Will. That is barely even an idea. Welcome to the human way of doing things, Chen added cheerfully from the Steady Progress. Inside the asteroid fortress, Pirate Lord Zarthok received reports of the approaching human ships. The Cravathi commander was massive even by his species' standards, with 4 arms covered in battle scars and eyes that had watched countless victims beg for mercy. He looked at the tactical display and laughed, his translator turning his hissing sounds into mocking words. 5 ships? 5 tiny ships? The humans are even more foolish than I believed. Send 10 vessels to destroy them. Make it slow. I want the galaxy to see what happens when someone challenges us without council backing. 20 warships emerged from the asteroid cover, their weapons hot and ready. They were proper military vessels, stolen from various species over years of raiding. Each one outgunned the human ships 3-1. By every tactical calculation, the battle should be over in minutes. Then the humans started moving, and tactical calculations stopped meaning anything. Wright's mining ship, Iron Will, moved straight toward the largest asteroid cluster, his drilling equipment activated with a high-pitched whine that echoed through space. He did not drill carefully or precisely. He drilled fast, punching holes deep into 3 different asteroids in quick succession. "What is he doing?" Zarthok demanded. "Those drill hits are destabilizing the asteroid orbits." He was right. The asteroids started tumbling in new directions, their predictable paths becoming wild and dangerous. 2 pirate warships had to veer sharply to avoid collisions. A third was not fast enough. A chunk of rock the size of a house smashed into its port side, crumpling armor plating and knocking out its engines. Chen's cargo hauler joined the chaos. She opened her bay doors and started dumping containers. Thousands of tons of metal boxes spilled into space, each one becoming a tumbling obstacle. The containers spread out, creating an expanding field of debris that filled the space between asteroids. "Insane!" Zarthok roared. "They are making the battlefield impossible for everyone, including themselves." But that was the point. The pirates had trained to fight in predictable conditions. Their tactics relied on sensor data and calculated movements. The humans were turning the battlefield into pure chaos, and chaos was something they understood very well. Park guided the makeshift Justice through the debris field at speeds that made his crew grip their seats. He dodged containers by meters, slipped between tumbling asteroids with centimeters to spare, and somehow kept his aging patrol ship intact through maneuvers that should have torn it apart. "Target their sensor arrays," he ordered Lee. "Blind them." Lee worked her tactical station with practiced precision. She picked shots carefully, not wasting ammunition on armor or shields. Instead, she targeted the external sensors on pirate ships. One shot, one sensor array destroyed. The pirates started losing their ability to track targets through the chaos. In the engineering section, Ji-Hoon Kim watched his displays with growing alarm. Hull stress was at 140% of safety limits. Power conduits were overheating. The engine made sounds that no engine should make. Everything told him they should stop immediately and make repairs. Instead, he rerouted power from life support to shields, bypassed 3 safety systems, and boosted engine output to levels the manufacturers would call impossible. "We will hold together," he muttered to himself in Korean. "We will hold together because I say so." The pirate warships tried to adapt. They formed defensive groups and attempted coordinated attacks. But coordinated attacks required communication, and communication required clear sensor data. With half their sensors blind and asteroids tumbling everywhere, coordination became impossible. A pirate commander tried to lock weapons on the steady progress. Chen's cargo hauler looked helpless, fat, and slow. An easy target. The pirate ship moved in for the kill. Then Wright's mining ship appeared from behind an asteroid and drove its drilling equipment straight through the pirate's engine section. The warship died instantly, power core going dark. "Sorry about that," Wright said over the communication channel. "Did I forget to mention my drill goes through armor?" Zarthok watched his tactical advantage disappear into chaos. He had superior numbers and firepower. But those meant nothing when his ships could not navigate safely. 3 more warships collided with debris. Another took damage from a tumbling asteroid. His fleet was scattered, blind, and increasingly desperate. Park saw the opportunity. "All ships, converge on the flagship, now!" The 5 human vessels moved through the chaos like they were born in it. They dodged and weaved, using obstacles instead of avoiding them, turning the deadly debris field into cover and concealment. The pirate flagship suddenly found itself surrounded, separated from its support vessels by walls of tumbling rock and metal containers. Zarthok realized his mistake too late. He had assumed humans would fight like everyone else, with careful planning and calculated risk. He never considered they might embrace chaos itself as a weapon. "Retreat!" he ordered his fleet. "Fall back to the fortress!" The pirate ships broke formation and fled toward the relative safety of the asteroid base. Park let them go. This first battle was not about destroying the pirates. It was about sending a message. Lee checked her tactical display. 5 pirate warships destroyed or disabled, 3 more damaged, 0 human casualties. "Yet," Kim added from engineering, "we have 0 human casualties yet. This ship is held together by hope and my personal stubbornness." Park smiled despite the tension. "Good enough. Signal the fleet. We hold position here." Back at Council headquarters, Ambassador Velnara watched the battle reports come in with growing disbelief. Her 3 eyes widened as she read the tactical summary. Impossible. The humans should be dead. Instead, they had defeated a superior force through methods so unconventional they bordered on madness. She opened a communication channel to Earth's diplomatic office. "What are your ships doing?" The human ambassador looked tired. "Apparently, what we should have done months ago. They are protecting innocent people since the Council would not." Velnara felt something cold settle in her stomach. This was not just one battle. This was the beginning of something that would change everything. The humans had just proven they did not need permission, did not need proper channels, and did not need the Council's approval. They only needed determination and a willingness to embrace chaos. In the Theta Belt, Park looked at his tired crew. "Rest while you can. Tomorrow we finish this." News traveled fast across the galaxy. Within 12 hours, every major news network broadcast the story of 5 human ships defeating a pirate fleet through pure chaos and determination. Within 24 hours, the story reached every trade route, every station, and every ship in known space. Within 48 hours, everything changed. Captain Park sat in his command chair aboard the makeshift Justice, reviewing damage reports. Kim had somehow kept the ship running, though he described its current state as technically impossible but practically functional. Through the view screen, the asteroid field floated peacefully, the pirate fortress silent and dark after their successful assault. They had won. Then his communication system started going crazy. "Captain Park, this is the cargo vessel Morning Star out of Rigel Station. We heard what you did. We want to help." "Captain, this is mining ship Deep Fortune. We have crews who lost friends to pirates. We are ready to fight." "Makeshift Justice, this is the hauler Second Chance. Tell us where to go. We will be there." Lee looked at Park with wide eyes. "Sir, I am counting messages from 37 different human vessels. They all want to join us." Park stood and activated the main broadcast channel. His face appeared on screens across multiple star systems, reaching every human ship that had contacted them. "This is Captain Jinwoo Park. I did not start this to build an army. I started it because the Council would not protect innocent people. If you join us, understand what that means. No official support, no backup, no guarantee of survival. We do this because it is right, not because it is safe." He paused, letting his words sink in. "If you still want to help after hearing that, then welcome aboard. Send your coordinates. We have a lot of work to do." By the end of the day, 12 human ships had joined their small fleet. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The chamber buzzed with anxious conversation from dozens of species representatives. Ambassador Velnara stood at the central podium, her silver skin slightly pale. "The human ships have now conducted operations in 4 different sectors," she reported, "all against pirate or criminal targets, all without authorization." "This is unacceptable," shouted a Hixarian delegate. "They act like vigilantes. They ignore our laws and procedures." "Their procedures work," another voice called out. It was Ambassador Krell, representing the Margoni Trade Federation. "Our ships have been attacked by pirates for 3 years. 3 years of council committees and investigations. The humans end the attacks in 3 days. That is beside the point, Velnara argued, though her voice lacked its usual confidence. We cannot allow individual species to conduct military operations without oversight. It creates chaos. The pirates created chaos, Krell shot back. The humans created safety. My people's cargo ships are traveling routes again that were considered too dangerous last week. Human patrols make that possible. The debate raged for hours. Some species demanded the humans be stopped and punished. Others quietly admitted they wished their own people had shown such courage. All of them recognized that something fundamental had shifted in how galactic security worked. Meanwhile, the humans kept working. A human freighter crew named the Lucky Dragon reached a prison station where captured civilians were held before being sold as slaves. The crew had no military training. They had welding torches, mining charges, and absolute determination. They cut through the station's hull in 3 places simultaneously, stormed inside through the breaches, and freed 47 prisoners from 6 different species. The operation took 11 minutes from breach to escape. The slavers never knew what hit them. Another group of human ships found a smuggling operation running weapons to pirate groups. The smugglers operated from a hidden station in a nebula, thinking they were invisible. The human engineer, named Sarah Kim, figured out how to track their ion trails through the nebula's interference. Once located, Captain Lisa Park simply rammed her heavy cargo hauler through the station's docking bay at full speed, then backed out before the smugglers could react. The station depressurized. The smugglers evacuated in escape pods. The weapons were destroyed. Total human casualties, 0. Total operation time, 7 minutes. Park received reports of each operation. Humans were spreading across 4 sectors, hitting every criminal target they could find. Each operation was different. Each one improvised. Each one succeeded through sheer human stubbornness and refusal to accept that something was impossible. Sir, pirate activity has dropped by 30% across our operating area, Lee reported, showing him the statistics. Trade ship attacks are down 45%. And we are getting messages from other species thanking us. Park nodded, but his expression was troubled. We are winning battles, but we are also making enemies. The Council sees us as disrupting their authority. Eventually, they will have to respond. He was right. The response came in the worst possible way. Zarthok, the Kravathi pirate lord, had escaped the destruction of his main fortress. He fled to a secondary base with what remained of his fleet, his pride wounded and his reputation destroyed. The galaxy laughed at how 5 human ships had defeated his forces. Other pirates whispered that the mighty Zarthok had been beaten by creatures barely older than children in galactic terms. He needed to restore fear. He needed to prove that challenging him had consequences. His ships descended on a small human colony world called New Eden. The settlement held 3,000 people, mostly families trying to build new lives farming on a frontier world. They had minimal defenses because they never expected to need them. This was supposed to be safe space, protected by council treaties. The pirates landed and took 500 colonists hostage. Zarthok sent his message to every human ship and every council station. The human attacks end now, or these prisoners die. You have 72 hours. Pull back your ships. Stop your operations, or I start executing 1 hostage every hour. Park watched the message with cold fury. Around him, his crew sat in shocked silence. He took families, Lee said quietly. There are children among those hostages. Park's hands clenched into fists. This was escalation beyond anything they had prepared for. This was a pirate lord gambling that the council would force humans to back down rather than let civilians die. Zarthok was betting on bureaucracy and procedure winning over human determination. The communication system lit up with urgent messages from council headquarters. Ambassador Velnara's face appeared on the screen, her 3 eyes filled with concern. Captain Park, The Council demands you cease all operations immediately. Zarthok's action is a direct result of your unauthorized activities. You must withdraw and let proper authorities handle this." "Proper authorities," Park repeated, his voice dangerously quiet. "The same authorities who have done nothing for 3 years? The same authorities who told me to wait 6 months while people died?" "This is different," Velnara insisted. "He has hostages. If you continue operations, those people will die. The Council is prepared to negotiate for their release through proper diplomatic channels." Park looked at his crew. He saw the anger in their eyes, the determination. He saw people who understood that backing down now meant every pirate in the galaxy would start taking hostages. It meant fear wins and evil succeeds because good people were too afraid to act. He turned back to the screen. "Tell the Council they can handle this however they want, but humanity will not stop. We will not negotiate. We will not back down." Velnara looked horrified. "You are sentencing those hostages to death." "No," Park said coldly. "Zarthok sentenced them. He just made a fatal mistake. He made it personal. Now we do not stop until every last pirate base is destroyed and he is dead or captured." He cut the communication channel and turned to his crew. "Send the message to every human ship. Every single one. We are going to New Eden. We are getting those people back. And we are going to show the galaxy what happens when you threaten human families." 30 human ships gathered in the space outside New Eden's star system. They came from every sector, every trade route, and every corner where humans worked. Cargo haulers, mining vessels, passenger transports, and aging patrol craft. None of them were warships. All of them were ready to fight. Captain Park stood on the bridge of the makeshift Justice, looking at the tactical display. Zarthok's fortress station was built into a moon orbiting New Eden. Sensors showed heavy shields, point defense systems, and enough firepower to destroy a proper military fleet. The hostages were held in the station's core, surrounded by layers of armor and defenses. Galactic military experts broadcast their analysis across every news network. 90% human casualties if they attacked directly. Maybe higher. The fortress was simply too strong. "So we do not attack directly," Park said to his assembled ship captains via communication link. "What else can we do?" Wright asked from the Iron Will. "We cannot tunnel through a moon like we did with asteroids." "Why not?" Engineer Kim spoke up, his face appearing on the screen. "Give me the Iron Will, 3 other mining ships, and some cargo haulers to provide cover. I can get us inside." "That is insane," Chen said, but she was smiling. "I love it. What is the plan?" Kim pulled up detailed scans of the moon. "The fortress is built into the surface, but the moon itself is mostly rock and ice. We drill from the opposite side, tunnel through, and come up underneath their defenses. They watch space. We come from underground." "That will take days," someone protested. "No," Kim said confidently. "It will take 11 hours if we push the equipment hard, which I will, obviously." Lee worked her tactical station. "We need a distraction. Something big enough to keep all their attention focused on space while the drilling teams work." Park nodded slowly. An idea formed. A crazy, dangerous, perfectly human idea. "We make them think we have a super weapon. Something scary enough that they have to focus everything on it." Within 6 hours, the plan came together. It was not a good plan by normal standards. It was barely a plan at all. But it was human, which meant it relied on improvisation, misdirection, and absolute confidence that they could solve problems as they appeared. The cargo ship, Steady Progress, became the centerpiece. Chen's crew welded extra hull plating to make it look heavier. They mounted fake weapons and added broadcasting equipment that made the ship's sensor signature read like something 10 times larger. The improvised superweapon looked impressive on sensors, even if it was actually a cargo hauler with delusions of grandeur. "Everyone ready?" Park asked. 30 voices confirmed across the communication channel. "Then let us show them what happens when you threaten human families." The steady progress jumped into New Eden space broadcasting signals that identified it as Earth's newest dreadnought. The fortress station's sensors immediately locked on. Zarthok's voice came over all frequencies, hissing with anger and fear. "Humans, you dare bring a warship here? I will execute the hostages right now." "No, you will not," Park replied calmly. "Because if you do, we will turn that fortress into dust. But if you release them, we might let you live." It was a bluff. The steady progress could not destroy anything. But Zarthok did not know that. All his sensors showed a massive human warship pointing weapons at his station. Every pirate defense system activated, focusing on the fake threat. While they watched the fake dreadnought, 4 mining ships approached the moon from the opposite side. Kim coordinated their drilling with precision. 4 massive drills punched into rock and ice, driving deep into the moon's interior. The equipment screamed from strain, running at 200% of rated capacity. Kim ignored every safety warning and pushed harder. "Tunnel stable," he reported, proceeding to Phase 2. Inside the fortress, Zarthok divided his attention between the human ship in space and his hostages. He kept sensors focused outward, never thinking to check beneath him. Why would he? Nobody attacked from underground. The drilling teams worked for 9 hours. They hit obstacles and drilled through them. They found unstable rock and reinforced it with quick-setting foam. When one drill overheated and died, they rerouted and kept going. Every problem got solved with improvisation and determination. At hour 10, they broke through into a maintenance tunnel beneath the fortress. "We are in," Kim reported. "Starting infiltration." 20 humans entered the tunnel. They carried welding tools, mining charges, and whatever weapons they could improvise. Lieutenant Su-Min Lee led the team, moving fast through the maintenance passages. They used the fortress's own layout against it, navigating through power conduits and life support systems. A pirate guard spotted them. Lee's team did not hesitate. They flooded the corridor with foam from fire suppression equipment, blinding the guard, then knocked him unconscious with a piece of pipe. Professional tactics meant nothing when opponents fought with whatever came to hand. The team split up, moving toward multiple objectives. Kim's group headed for the power core. Lee's team went for the hostages. A third group targeted the fortress defense grid. In the command center, Zarthok suddenly received alarms. "Intruders in Sector 7! No! Sector 12! They are inside the station!" "Impossible!" his second-in-command shouted. "How did they get past our sensors?" "Because you watched space and we came from below," Kim said cheerfully over the station's communication system. He had reached the power core and plugged into the main computer. "Surprise!" Chaos erupted throughout the fortress. Kim overloaded power conduits, causing lights to flicker and systems to fail. Lee's team blew through 3 walls with mining charges, taking the most direct route to the hostages regardless of architectural plans. The defense grid team fed false sensor data into the system, making the pirates think they were being attacked from every direction. Lee reached the hostage chamber. Zarthok himself guarded the door with 10 heavily armed pirates. They expected negotiations or careful tactics. Instead, 3 walls exploded simultaneously as mining charges detonated. Flash charges filled the room with blinding light and deafening sound. Smoke grenades created total confusion. In the chaos, Lee's team moved through like they had practiced this 1,000 times, even though they were making it up as they went. "Hostages, stay down!" Lee shouted. "Everyone else, you have 1 chance to surrender." The pirates, blinded and confused, dropped their weapons. Zarthok tried to run. A human engineer tripped him with a piece of conduit, then sat on him until others could secure him with cargo straps. 4 minutes after breaching the chamber, every hostage was free and moving toward the tunnels. "All teams, Withdraw, Park ordered. Kim, what is the status of that power core? Oh, it is going to explode, Kim said casually. I set it to overload about 10 minutes ago. We should probably leave. How long do we have? 15 minutes, maybe 12. Engineering is more art than science. The evacuation became a controlled rush. Teams guided hostages through the tunnels they had drilled. Pirates tried to follow, but humans kept blocking passages with collapsed rock and sealed doors. The fortress systems went crazy as power fluctuations cascaded through every system. Zarthok screamed orders over his communication system. All ships, launch! Abandon the fortress! The pirate fleet scattered, ships fleeing in every direction. None of them wanted to be near the station when its power core exploded. Park watched from the makeshift Justice as the last humans and hostages cleared the moon's surface. Kim, status? 5 minutes. Everyone is clear. You might want to back up a little. The human fleet jumped to safe distance. The fortress station's power core reached critical mass. The explosion lit up the moon's surface, visible from 3 star systems away. The entire fortress disappeared in a ball of fire that carved a crater into the moon itself. Park activated the galaxy-wide communication channel. This is Captain Jinwoo Park to all pirates, slavers, and criminals. This is what happens when you threaten human families. This is why you should have left us alone. If you prey on innocent people, we will find you. If you take hostages, we will free them. If you think hiding makes you safe, remember we tunneled through a moon. He paused, letting his words reach every corner of the galaxy. The Council wanted proper channels and procedures. We gave you action and results. Choose wisely who you threaten, because humans do not stop. Ever. Ambassador Velnara watched the broadcast from Council headquarters. Around her, representatives from 40 species sat in stunned silence. The humans had just achieved the impossible through methods so unconventional they bordered on insanity. They tunneled through a moon, someone whispered. They made a cargo ship look like a dreadnought, another added. They freed 500 hostages with 0 casualties. Velnara realized the galaxy had changed. The humans had proven something terrifying and wonderful. When properly motivated, when protecting their own, humans simply did not recognize the word impossible. 3 months passed. The galaxy transformed in ways nobody predicted. Pirate activity dropped 70% across all monitored sectors. Criminal syndicates abandoned their bases in human-patrolled space. Slave markets shut down or moved to the furthest edges of known territory. The phrase, "the humans are coming," became the nightmare that woke pirate captains in cold sweats. Human ships patrolled trade routes that had been considered too dangerous for years. They traveled in loose groups, never following predictable patterns, always ready to respond to distress calls. When pirates attacked anyone, human or not, human vessels appeared within hours, sometimes minutes. The response was never gentle, it was never by the book, it was always effective. Captain Jinwoo Park stood in the shuttle bay of a council station, adjusting his dress uniform. He had been officially summoned to appear before the full Galactic Council to answer for unauthorized military operations, violation of established protocols, and creating instability through unilateral action. The charges carried serious penalties, including permanent ban from council space. Lieutenant Su-Min Lee stood beside him, also in dress uniform. "You ready for this?" "Not even a little bit," Park admitted. "But when has that ever stopped us?" They walked through the station corridors toward the council chamber. Other species stepped aside, watching them with a mixture of respect and fear. These were the humans who tunneled through moons, who turned cargo ships into weapons, who refused to accept that anything was impossible. The council chamber doors opened. Park and Lee entered to find every seat filled. Representatives from every major species in the galaxy watched them approach. The room hummed with tension. Ambassador Velnara stood at the central podium, her 3 eyes focused on Park. Captain Jinwoo Park, you stand before this council to answer for actions taken without authorization over the past 3 months. How do you respond? Park walked to the speaking platform. He did not look nervous or apologetic. He looked like a man who had nothing to regret. I respond that I did what needed to be done, he said clearly. The council had evidence of pirate attacks, evidence of slavery, of murder, of innocent people dying. The council chose committees and investigations. I chose action. You violated every established protocol, a Hixarian delegate shouted. You acted without proper authority. I acted without permission, Park corrected. But I had all the authority I needed. The authority of knowing right from wrong. The authority of people dying while you debated. The chamber erupted in argument. Some species demanded punishment. Others remained silent, remembering that their own trade ships were safe now because humans had acted. Velnara raised her hand for silence. The Council recognizes these operations achieved results. However, we cannot simply ignore violations of procedure. If every species acted independently, there would be chaos. There already was chaos, Park said firmly. Pirates creating chaos while you maintained order in this chamber. I chose to stop the chaos that actually mattered. Ambassador Krell from the Margoni Trade Federation stood. I wish to speak. The chamber quieted. Krell had remained neutral through most debates, but his species controlled significant trade influence. 3 months ago, my people lost an average of 4 ships per week to pirate raids. 4 ships, 40 crew members, every single week. He looked around the chamber. The council investigated. The council formed committees. The council debated proper responses. My people kept dying. Then the humans acted. In 3 months, we have lost 0 ships to piracy in human-patrolled space. 0. That is beside the point, the Hixarian delegate protested. It is exactly the point! Krell's voice rose. The Council's purpose is to protect member species. When we failed at that purpose, the humans succeeded. They did not ask permission because permission would have taken months we did not have. They saw people dying and they acted. That should be commended, not condemned. Velnara looked uncomfortable. Ambassador Krell, surely you see the danger in allowing unauthorized military action? I see greater danger in preventing action that saves lives, Krell responded. The humans have proven something important. Sometimes perfect procedure leads to perfectly preventable deaths. More voices joined the debate. The chamber divided sharply. Species that had suffered pirate attacks supported the humans. Species that valued procedure above all else demanded punishment. Neither side would yield. Finally, an elderly delegate from the Korthian species stood. She was one of the council's founders, respected by all. Enough, she said quietly, but her voice carried authority. This debate misses the real question. Not whether the humans violated procedure, but whether our procedures failed their purpose. The chamber went silent. She continued. We created these procedures to prevent hasty action that causes harm, but our procedures became so slow that inaction caused greater harm. The humans showed us this truth. They did not ask permission because asking permission had become an excuse for doing nothing. She looked at Park. Captain Park, your methods were reckless, dangerous, unconventional to the point of chaos. Park nodded. Yes, they were. They were also necessary, she finished. The council failed. You did not. However, we cannot simply allow any species to act independently whenever they feel justified. That path leads to true chaos. She turned to address the full chamber. I propose a new doctrine, the rapid response provision. When clear threats exist, when evidence is present, when lives are at stake, authorized forces may act immediately. Not after committees, not after months of debate, immediately. with proper reporting and oversight, but without waiting for permission that comes too late to matter. The chamber erupted again, but this time the debate felt different. Species were actually discussing solutions instead of just arguing positions. Velnara looked at Park with something like respect. "You have put us in an impossible position, Captain. We cannot reward your violation of protocols, but we cannot deny that your actions saved lives and exposed our failures." "I did not do it for reward or recognition," Park said. "I did it because it needed to be done. Because when the council said, 'Wait for proper channels,' people were dying in those channels." The vote on the rapid response provision took hours. When the results came, they surprised everyone. The provision passed with 63% support. The galaxy had not adopted human chaos, but they had learned from it. Velnara approached Park after the session ended. "You realize what you have started? Other species will form rapid response teams. They will model human methods. The galaxy will become more unpredictable." "More responsive," Park corrected. "More willing to act when action matters. Is that really so bad?" "I do not know," Velnara admitted. "But I do know this. You taught the galaxy an uncomfortable lesson, that sometimes procedures exist to make us feel orderly while the world burns. Thank you for that, even though I hate admitting it." Park returned to the makeshift Justice, where his crew waited. Engineer Kim had the ship running despite damage that should have required dock time. Lee had already plotted their next patrol route. Chen and Wright were coordinating with other human vessels for convoy protection. "So," Lee asked, "are we criminals or heroes?" "Neither," Park said. "We are just people who did what needed to be done." "The Council passed the rapid response provision," Lee noted. "Other species are forming quick reaction teams. The Margoni just commissioned 3 rapid response squadrons." "Good," Park said. "Maybe next time innocent people are threatened, they will not wait for us to shame them into action." He looked at his crew. These people who had risked everything without hesitation, who had followed him into impossible situations and found ways to win, who represented the best of what humanity could be when properly motivated. "New distress call just came in," Chen reported over communication. "Freighter under attack 2 systems away. Pirates. They are asking if any human ships are nearby." Park smiled. "Set course. Maximum speed." "The engines will not like that," Kim warned. "They never do. We will fix them if they break." "That is the human way," Lee said with a grin. The makeshift Justice jumped to hyperspace, chasing another call for help. Behind them, the galaxy continued adapting to lessons learned from humans who refused to accept that proper channels mattered more than lives. In council chambers, in military academies, in command centers across 40 species, a new doctrine took shape. The human doctrine, they called it. The idea that sometimes rules must bend for justice to prevail. That perfect procedure means nothing if good people die while waiting for it. That action, even imperfect action, beats perfect inaction every time. Ambassador Velnara watched ships depart on rapid response missions. Vessels that 3 months ago would have waited for authorization now acted immediately when threats appeared. The galaxy had become more chaotic, more unpredictable, more willing to bend rules. It had also become safer. She thought about Captain Park's final words before leaving. "Someday, you will say those words again. Fine, we will do it ourselves. When that day comes, you will understand why humans never wait for permission to do what is right." 3 months later, when Korthian pirates attacked Margoni colonies, Velnara watched her own people's rapid response team launch without waiting for council approval. They moved fast, improvised tactics, and freed hostages within 6 hours. As she watched them work, using methods that looked suspiciously human, she found herself whispering the words, "Fine, we will do it ourselves." And for the first time, she understood exactly what Captain Park meant. Across the galaxy, those words became not a threat, but a promise. A promise that when evil acted, good people would respond. Not eventually, not after proper channels, but immediately. With determination, with improvisation. With that uniquely human refusal to accept that something was impossible just because nobody had done it before. The galaxy had not become human, but it had learned to think like humans when it mattered most, to act when action was needed, to embrace controlled chaos over perfect paralysis. Captain Park smiled as the makeshift Justice dropped out of hyperspace at the distress call location. The freighter was there, damaged but intact. Pirates circled like predators. They saw one aging human patrol ship and laughed. They had no idea what was about to happen. They never did. "Lieutenant Lee," Park said calmly, "show them what happens when humans say, 'Fine, we will do it ourselves.'" "With pleasure, Captain." The battle began. Just another day of humans doing what humans did best. Not because they had the best ships or the best weapons, but because they had something better. They had determination. They had each other. And they had learned that when you do the right thing, you do not ask permission first. You just do it.